Hey everyone, and welcome to another video. So today's video might seem a little strange, but I'm reviewing a kid's book today, and no, I don't have any kids. So my good author friends Kimmy K and H.A. Pruitt have written this kid's book called Tiny Sam. I will pop the cover up here because I have a PDF because I'm an ARC reviewer, so I don't have the actual cover, but this is the cover, and it is a kid's book, and so I'm reading it to support them. And so this is my honest review, my genuine thoughts about the book. So let's get right into my thoughts and my review. So, first of all, I think the illustrations are really cute. I love I love any concept with kids' books having to do with animals, because it's, you know, obviously like kids love animals and stuff. And I love that the whole point of this story, the lesson and the theme, the main theme is that the things that like seem like they're negatives about us don't really inhibit us. If that makes any sense. I'm probably explaining that really bad, but like what seems like, basically what seems like a limitation to you is not always a limitation, and like God can use anything about you, your good traits, your bad traits, to help you. And like there's one line in this story that says, God made you small and God made you kind-hearted and brave. God makes us exactly how we are so we can help others He brings across our path. So like we all have that, whether we're kids or adults or teens or somewhere in between, where we have traits about ourselves and things about ourselves that we don't like, or things that we feel like we would love to change. And we've probably all asked God, why did you make me this way? Why am I this way? And we wish that God would change us, or that we would be, you know, different. And in this case, Tiny Sam, he's a little panda, and he wishes that he would be big, and he gets made fun of because he is too small. And so he goes on this adventure up this mountain to prove that he can climb it, and to prove that him being small doesn't really hinder him. But along the way, he learns an important lesson in that being small doesn't really you know, he is the way he is for a certain purpose. And through that, because of his size, he's able to actually help people. And so it makes you realize that in the things that limit us, in our negatives, in our weaknesses, God makes us strong. And that actually is like a verse in the Bible, something to that effect, that like God like uses our weaknesses to help people that He places in our path. And so I'm going to get a little deep, and I'm going to get a little real with you, because why not? This is a review of a kid's book, but we're going to get deep. Let's dive into this. So at first, I'm going to be honest, I felt a little awkward reviewing a kid's book when I don't have any kids, but then I read the last chapter of the book, and the story inspiration from both of my friends, like getting deep about, you know, their reason for making this book. And I literally almost cried because, I have been struggling to have kids. I really, really want kids so bad, and I won't get into the details. But it is something that has been a big problem and a big weakness of mine for a long time, that I've asked God that many times, like why He hasn't helped me have a kid, why He hasn't changed me to like be able to have kids easier and like fix all of the health problems and all of that stuff. And it's like, it reminded me of Tiny Sam, like, you know, or at least the concept of wanting to be bigger. Like he's small, he wants to be bigger. He, at one point in the beginning of the story, he stands on a stump to make himself look taller, you know, and, this kid's book ironically came at a time when I really have been struggling with the whole not having kids thing. We'll just put it like had a moment over the holiday when I was surrounded by people that have kids, and it was just really difficult for me and for my husband as well. And the line, like I said, I've already read it, but the line that God makes us exactly how we are so we can help others He brings across our path, that hit so hard. I just about burst into tears. And this is a kid's book. It's a kid's chapter book. I don't know the age range, but this is a kid's book, and I'm going to be 30 this year. And that hit me hard enough to make me almost cry, because yeah, I want kids, but God gives us, or He allows us to have our weaknesses, and He makes us the way we are for specific reasons. And we may not be able to see what those reasons are, but He then can use that to help other people. If Tiny Sam in this story hadn't been tiny, he wouldn't have been able to help Mr. Bill Goat. He wouldn't have been able to help Lily the spider. He wouldn't have been able to help Tugo the gorilla. And so there were certain things that he had to be tiny in order to meet those people, to help them at a specific time in their life, in their journey. And we may not see that, like at the beginning of the story, Tiny Sam doesn't know that. It took him actually going through those things, going on this journey, meeting those characters in order to realize and learn the lessons that he needed. And so even for me as a 30-year-old, almost a 30-year-old woman, that lesson hits really, really hard. And it's so hard for us to learn as adults. And so that's why I feel like this book is so important for kids, because on the one hand, I do feel like we don't have enough content for kids that is not permeated with bad things, with woke stuff and agendas being shoved down our kids' throats, trying to teach them bad things. And I feel like we need more true, good, wholesome content for kids, and books like this that is not only good and wholesome and a really, really good story. That I feel like this chapter book it's got a really big, like, you know, a quest, it's got animals, it's got really relatable and fun characters. I feel like kids of, you know, young kids would really, really enjoy this book. But it, not only that, but it has this life lesson that can help adults, much less little kids who can learn this early. You know what I mean? Like, it's important for kids to feel like they're not going to be held back by their limitations, and that their limitations, that God can use their limitations for good things. You know what I mean? And so, I mean, we as adults even struggle to learn that now as adults, much less, you know, kids learning that at a younger age. So I feel like this book is very important. I feel like this book is, I don't know, it just came to me at the time when I needed the lesson. And sometimes we're adults and we think, I don't know, sometimes as adults, we kind of miss these important, really lessons that kind of seem like, okay, it's a kid's book, whatever, you know, that kind of thing. But within that, there is an important lesson to be learned here. And there is something important for us to know, that like in our weaknesses, regardless of what it is, God can bring a good purpose and a good reason. Like, he has reasons behind what he does, and like why we are the way we are, and like that is important. And we may not be able to see what that is now, but you know, God has a reason why we are the way we are, and why we have the limitations and weaknesses that we do, and those weaknesses and limitations don't have to hold us back. And I feel like that's so important, because you know, like from my life and my example, like I really want kids so bad, to the point where it was almost hard for me to read a kid's book, and then being, you know, giving a review, knowing that I don't have kids, which goes back to my own anger and bitterness over my situation, only to realize that this book had a lesson I needed to learn in it, which is that I don't have to be held back by my weakness and by the fact that I'm struggling and stuff, and that God has a reason and a purpose in it, even if I can't see that or don't know what it is right now. And so for anybody out there who has any sort of weakness, whether that's a physical limitation, whether that's a disability, mental disability or physical disability, whether there's something about your appearance that you hate, whether it's something about your personality that you hate, whether it's a circumstance you're going through, whatever it is, whatever weakness that you have that you've been asking God to change, we all need to try to just learn the lesson of accepting our weaknesses and our limitations, and accepting that God has a purpose in allowing us to experience them for whatever reason at this time. So I encourage you, even if you're an adult, whether you have kids or not, I encourage you to just go check out this book. It's a really quick read, and the lesson is super, super important, honestly. And so Tiny Sam, it's a book, but if you have kids, please, I encourage you so much, if you have kids, go get this book and read it with them. There's a lot of good lessons and wholesome lessons beyond just the main concept of the book that's in here. It will create a lot of good discussion points that you can have with your kids, and I feel like we need more content like this for kids nowadays, but also the lesson there, the theme there, and the theme about friendship and working together. There's so much in this book that I feel like is important for kids nowadays to like know and learn. So Tiny Sam by Kimmy K and H.A. Pruitt, please go check it out. I'll pop up the cover once again on the screen here for you guys. Check it out. It's such a wholesome book. And honestly, I'm a 30-year-old woman, and I'll say I really genuinely enjoyed it. I needed it. And I would say overall for a kid's book, like my star rating is probably like 5 stars. I haven't really read a whole lot of other kids' books since I was a kid, so I don't really have anything to compare it to. I feel like the writing was really good. The editing was really tight. The illustrations were really good and really cute. Like I said, the illustrations were like really adorable. So I really like, that's so cute. I love them. I don't like spiders, and I feel like I related to the spider character, Lily. She has a fear of the unknown, and I have a really anxiety-based mindset. So like I related to, and I hate spiders. I'm terrified of spiders, and yet I related to the spider character so much. There's a lesson in here for everybody, so please go check it out. Tiny Sam by Kimmy K and H.A. Pruitt. I guarantee there's a lesson in here for everybody, and especially if you have kids, your kids need to read this book and learn the lessons and like know that their limitations don't hinder them, and that their limitations can actually be positive things. Like that's important for all of us to learn, but especially at a young age. So check it out. Right now, the Kickstarter for Immortal is actually live, so I'll have a link in the description below. Go check it out. The version of Immortal that I'm offering in this Kickstarter campaign, the ebook and the paperback, is a different version. It is what I call the Kickstarter edition that will not be released or published at all, so your only chance to get it is with this Kickstarter campaign. So I'll pop it up here on the screen what's in this special Kickstarter edition that you can't get anywhere else. So in the Kickstarter, I also added an Immortal notebook and an Immortal coloring book, and there's packages and tiers for that. There's the Hunter coloring book, so that's exciting, and a Hunter artwork book. So it's got all the art from Hunter that I actually did get at one point. And there's also special add-ons that you can get, like the Rogue notebook and the Rogue coloring book as well. And all of the short companion books are also added on. You can get each of those individual ebooks for $1, just added on to your pledge. So I'll pop up all the information and things here on the screen. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about the actual Kickstarter campaign and what I'm actually offering. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out the Kickstarter campaign. It's only going for 30 days, so grab this while you can. It is amazing. And again, the Kickstarter edition of Immortal is only available in this Kickstarter, so you don't want to miss your chance to get it because it will not be available after this at all. In the meantime, if you liked this video, please be sure to give it a like and subscribe for more writing and reading videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And in the meantime, if you liked my review of this book, Tiny Sam, then check out my reading challenge. I literally spun a wheel and it determined how long I had to read every day. It was a really intense challenge. It's actually turned into more episodes than I thought, so check out episode 1. It'll be here on the screen. You don't want to miss it. It's really fun, and you got to see whether I actually did the challenge or not.